So this is another project that I've been considering doing for a while now. This is my Mosin Nagant 9130. This is a full-size Mosin Nagant, not one of the carbine models. This has a laminate wood stock. I bought this in unfired, stored condition from Cabela's a few years ago. I always get the timing wrong because when COVID hit, that 2-year period when we were stuck at home just flew by, and I can't remember much that happened in that time period because it's all just a blur. But I definitely bought this long before COVID. I'm just trying to show you some of the markings that are on this. This is actually a pretty low serial number gun. But from what I'm told, that really doesn't matter because the Russians were known for putting serial number ranges all over the place to try to confuse people on how many guns they'd actually made. But the plans that I have for this gun are to remove the rear sight base and the rear sight. I bought a really nice slide-on machined base from eBay. The guy actually machines them to fit perfectly on the factory dovetail, and then there's one set screw that holds them in, so it's largely an interference fit. And then I plan on either running a red dot just because I want to try it, or I want to put a long eye relief, either a 4-power fixed scope or a 2-7x32 or a 2-7x40 scope on it, just to make this gun a little bit more fun to shoot. Realistically, at 100 yards with the open sights, it's kind of crummy to shoot, so I want to make it a little bit better. You can see it's not in perfect shape. The wood's a little bit messed up here and there. There's some corrosion on the butt plate and on the bolt here and there, but this one I bought strictly because it's a hex receiver, and it had some really cool markings on it. Also, it was made in 1935, so it was in between the 2 world wars. Here you can see the rear sight base. When you take the top handguard off, there's 2 pins that you can knock out, and you can drive that sight base right off. What's on there is essentially a 3/8 Weaver scope mount, so you can either buy this proper mount, which is the one that I bought off of eBay, that you drive onto that mount and then it has one set screw in the top. Or you can do what I did in my previous Mosin Nagant build, which was buy a clamp-on scope mount, which is just a 3/8 Weaver adapter to a Picatinny adapter. They really don't work that well. I also had this Howling Raven muzzle brake that I had on my other Mosin Nagant 9130 that I sold a few years ago. I kept the muzzle brake and decided to put it back on this project. It renders the bayonet useless, but the nice thing is you can take out 3 set screws, slide this thing right off, and slide the bayonet on. There is a little bit of irony to this build. About a week ago, Garand Thumb actually did a video with a really bubbled up 9130, and he had one of these muzzle brakes on it. He was actually ragging on it, saying that it was way too big and useless and overweight. This is the clamp-on 3/8 Weaver style to Picatinny style adapter. Again, I don't recommend using these because they do tend to loosen up over time. They're really not made for a Mosin Nagant. So this project is just essentially turning a standard 9130 into a scope scout model. I would have bought an original Mosin Nagant scope and put it on top of this rail, but the eye relief would have been all wrong, and they're really expensive. So whether you hate Mosin Nagants or love Mosin Nagants or hate it when people modify Mosin Nagants, I hope you stick around for this build. Again, it's basically just putting a scope on a Mosin Nagant, but I'm trying to do it the right way this time, make it more pleasant to shoot. So thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more build videos on this Mosin Nagant 9130.